Hello and welcome to Jank It Up Fuzzball. I'm your host Brian, aka Qi'Ra, Street Savvy. I think we're up to episode 34, and it's been a while since episode 33. A couple of months have gone past, and to be honest, every episode could be the last. And I there are times when I didn't know if I would ever record again, just because the game is dead. We know the game is dead, but at the end of the day, I enjoy talking about it. I really enjoy playing the game, and I have played throughout the summer very regularly over TTS with my dear friend Greg, and it gives me something to look forward to every week, hopping on and playing some games and doing that. And, we got transformations, came out of nowhere, so that's been fun. That has been a nice injection of something new into Star Wars Destiny. But, I just got the itch to record again. It's been 2 months. If you're going to do it, let's do it. And I thought for this episode, what I would do is take a deck that I kind of put together and I had high hopes for and just, smash some games with it and then talk about it. This is kind of what I did from the very beginning of this podcast. Just kind of, hey, here's a deck I like and let's see how it goes. So in this case, I was inspired because since Destiny is officially over, there are deals to be found. And recently I flipped some stuff on eBay, or I sold some things. I sold some Destiny stuff. I sold some other things that I found laying around the house just to make a little bit of extra money. And that gave me some play money that I decided to value shop for some Destiny cards that I didn't have. So recently I found a seller on eBay who is selling some legendaries and whatnot at a very good value, what I thought was a good value. So I picked up my second copy of the Spark of Hope Han Solo, Old Swindler. I think I paid like $6.99 for it, so $7, which, that's fine. I think shipping was free. I think that's why it was also really, really nice. But yeah, so that gave me Elite Han. That was on my list of things. As Destiny is winding down, I'm trying to get any character I have one die of. I'm trying to at least get the second die so I could run them Elite. So I got Han. I was excited for that. I also bought an Entourage for $9, which is way cheaper than I got my first Entourage for. I traded for that, but the value of it at the time, a long time ago, was obviously much higher. So I have 2 copies of Entourage, which made me super happy. So Han, being a scoundrel, and Entourage was really great. I also picked up my 3rd copy of a Trandoshan Hunter just because, why not? And it was good. So I got these 3 cards, and combined it was $20-something. But I was excited because these are all cards I wanted. And so immediately I got Han. I'm looking at Han Elite, and I have the Entourage, and I'm like, let's make some kind of cool scoundrel deck. So if you're not familiar with the Spark of Hope Han, I'm going to go ahead and read him out. He is 10 health. He is a character scoundrel. He is a hero, of course. His die reads 1 ranged, 2 ranged, 1 discard, 1 resource blank. He is 9 for single die and 12 for elite. And he has a power action, which I often forgot about. But it says, turn one of your scoundrel dice, showing a resource to any side. If it is a Wookiee die, you may resolve it for free. So that's Han Solo, Old Swindler. He has 10 health, so he's not squishy, but not exactly, not super beefy. And I'm looking, at 12, there's a lot of options. But I am a fan of the Solo movie, and I am a fan of Qi'Ra as a Destiny character. So I thought, hey, I know it's not the young Han Solo, so it's the creepy old man Han Solo, but I thought let's pair Han and Qi'Ra together once again. And I love playing Qi'Ra. I've featured a Qi'Ra deck on this podcast before, but let's talk about Qi'Ra. She's a neutral character. That's important to know. She's also a scoundrel. She's 11 health, and she has her sides read 2 ranged, 3 ranged for $1, 1 discard, 1 resource, plus 2 resources, and a miss. She's 13 for single die and 16 for elite. And you can include yellow hero and yellow villain events in your deck. So that's pretty great. So the 2 of them combined, running them both elite, come out to 28. And I was like, well, what else can I do with this to fill those 2 points up? And I was looking around at plots, and there's Profiteering. Profiteering is a neutral yellow plot. It costs 2 points, and it says, after one of your scoundrel dice rolls aside showing a resource, you may resolve it. So that is some action cheating right there. And between Han and Qi'Ra, there are 4 resource sides. Now, one of them, Qi'Ra's, is a +2, so you can't resolve a modified side. But still, there are 3 sides between the 2 of them that can be immediately resolved based on profiteering. So how do you approach this? I was like, I definitely want to get both my entourages in this deck. Han and Qi'Ra, both scoundrels. Entourages are scoundrels. Entourages let you fetch other scoundrels in your deck. So I have 2 hired muscles. I have 2 fickle mercenaries. And I even threw in a raiding party from Covert Missions. That is a scoundrel and a pirate. So there you have it. That was the crux of it. Other supports, there are 11 total supports in this deck. I have 1 copy of Improvised Explosive, I have 2 Merchant Freighters, and I have 1 copy of the 4-cost starter Millennium Falcon. So those are my 11 supports. Because I'm a bad Destiny player, I did put in 4 upgrades. So you're like, Brian, you're just talking about a support deck. And I'm like, yes, but here are some upgrades. I had Chewbacca's Blaster Rifle, Han's Solo's Blaster, and Ordnance Launcher. Those are all 3 cost. And then I had 1 DX2 Disruptor Blaster Pistol, which is 2 cost. So between that's half my deck, and that left me with 15 events. And again, here's why I'm a bad Destiny player. I have 15 events, and out of those 15, those are 13 different cards. So I only have 2 cards that I have 2 copies of, and everything else is that. It's almost like playing Solidarity, because it's like, what are the odds you're gonna see the cards you want? But here's what I had. I had Closing the Deal. Before I even say that, you're like, why do you have Closing the Deal? I'm running Mean Streets. So Mean Streets allows you, as a plot, if you claim, not a plot, as a battlefield, if you claim, you can put a resource on the battlefield if you spot a scoundrel, and then you can play an event from your hand decreasing its cost by the number of resources on this. So Closing the Deal is a 3 cost that gives you 5 resources. I'm trying to pay for things, so okay, that's fine. I have 2 copies of Easy Pickings, of course, 1 Electroshock, 1 Entangle, a Fight Dirty, that's a villain card. Remove any number of your yellow dice, then deal damage to a character equal to the number of dice you just removed. I love this card. There are a lot of dice usually I got out there, so I used it effectively, and I probably should have put 2 in. Flee the Scene, 1 Indifferent, spot a neutral character, remove a die. 1 Reap, 1 Rendezvous, 1 Reversal, that's another expensive one, but again, hoping to save value through Mean Streets. 1 Take Flight. Take Flight is one of my favorite kitchen table cards. It is a villain, 0-cost yellow villain event. It features Boba Fett with his jetpack on it. It has Ambush, and it says reroll up to 2 your yellow dice. Yeah, it's not going to win you a tournament, but I think it's just such a great kitchen table card, right? Because it's like, hey, I play this, it's 0 cost. I get to reroll 2 of my yellow dice, and immediately, potentially, I can resolve something because I have Ambush. So I kind of wish I had 2 copies of that in there. But instead, I had 2 copies of Truce and 1 copy of Well Connected. So that's my deck. And I said, hey, Greg, when we play, I got this deck, and I'm gonna play through it and try to see how it actually goes. So Greg and I got together on a Saturday. We've been doing that most of the summer via TTS and playing some games. And so I rolled out Han Qi'Ra, and Greg shows up with Vader Greedo, which I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm happy that Greg has Terror to Behold and Greedo, but recently he said he's probably going to take a break from it, and that here it is, which is fine, no problem, right? He's put in some new cards, and that's awesome. So it was a pretty good game. I got Chewie's Blaster down round 1, and that was pretty good. I was able to entangle both of Vader's die one turn. I think that was round 1 as well. It was awesome, and I was feeling pretty good about it. Greedo died round 3. And Han also died round 3. So that was kind of a bummer. But, the problem was I was getting really close to getting Vader. And he was also getting really close to killing Qi'Ra. And ultimately what happened was he was able to get Vader's 4 side, 4 for 1 or 4 for 2. I don't know how much it is, but it's 4 or 4. I think it's supposed to be 4 for 1. And, Qi'Ra was, I think she had 3 health left, and Vader had 4 health left. And I had the 3 indirect side on an entourage die up, but that wouldn't have killed Vader, and he would have killed me. And so that was tough. I think what I did is we were playing on Fighting Pit because he won the roll off. And Fighting Pit, real quick, has a power action: reroll an opponent's character die, reroll 1 of your character dice, then deal damage to those characters equal to the value showing on their other characters' dice. I didn't have any character dice in the pool, but he had Vader's, and it was my turn, and I could do nothing to thwart the 4 except power action, the fighting pit. And, there's no condition where it says I have to have character dice in the pool. So you do as much of the card as you can. And so the very first sentence is re-roll an opponent's character die. That's what I did. I think he rolled it into like 4 for 1. And there's nothing I could do. I resolved my 3 indirect. So Vader had 1 health left, but I died. But overall, I felt pretty good about it. I got an entourage out, and that was good. But I lost by 1 health. That happens. I wasn't discouraged. Hey, I lost. It's fine. He then switched up. Mercifully, maybe. He switched up and pulled out Grievous, Sentinel Messenger, Aphra, and Armored Reinforcement. So we know how this works, because with Aphra, you get the discount on droids, and with Armored Reinforcement, it can pull out a red vehicle. And so usually out comes Hellfire Droid Tank. And Hellfire is a newer card to Greg. So I had one for the longest time, but he finally got one of his own. And yeah, I was fully expecting to see that round 1, but he didn't. I saw him pull 1 resource, and then he dropped Trip 0, which meant that the engine was not not far behind. And yes, he ended up getting both BT1 and Trip 0 out round 1. And he dealt 8 damage to me. I spread that out, but then Han died in round 2. Qi'Ra basically dead at the end of round 2, because I think I somehow ended round 2 with 1 health on Qi'Ra, and that was a BT activation away from dying. So I couldn't do that. The worst part is I had the dream come true. I was able to play an entourage, fetch the second entourage. I got them both on the table, but I was dealing no damage. I didn't kill a single character, and I got destroyed. And I told you in the first round he didn't pop the AR for the Hellfire, but in the second round he did, and it did some work. It was not cool. So Han and Qi'Ra were 0-2. That's okay. We're good. Then Greg pulls out E Cassian, E Wicket, Ewok Warrior, and man, that was such a swingy game. It was fun. It's all yellow. It was great. Back and forth. I managed to kill the short Ewok, the smaller, the Ewok Warrior, and then he probably killed Han, and I killed Cassian. I was able to make an impressive rally, and I knocked down Cassian. But Wicket, man, I should have gone for Wicket. And the reason for that is he also played, he had Perilous Escape, that plot that allows you to deal an indirect damage after you play a downgrade. And man, I screwed up. I guess Han was still alive. I take that back. Han was still alive. I put a blaster on Han. It was my play at the start of a round, and I rolled out Han, and he showed lethal. He had Han rolled the 1, and the blaster rolled the +3, and I had lethal, but I had literally 1 health left on Han. And he activated Wicket. And when you activate Wicket, you can play a trap. And so he activated Wicket. Didn't matter what he rolled. He played a trap. He exhausted Perilous Escape, and I died. And so I went 0-3 with Han Qi'Ra, and it was frustrating. 2 of those games, Greg was down to 1 health, or not much health. I guess Ewok, I must have had Wicket down to 1 health as well, because that's in my notes. But I went 0-3, and at that point I just stopped. I think I switched decks, and he switched decks, and I managed to win a game that night. But I went 1-4 on the night after going 0-3 with Han Qi'Ra. So I wasn't done. I wasn't done with that pairing. I was like, man, there's got to be something here. And if it's not Scoundrels, what could it be? And I know that Across the Galaxies, Han and Qi'Ra have some success, especially if you go aggro and you load them up with weapons and things. But that's not my style, really. And I thought about it, and I looked at it. But what I ultimately decided was, hey, let's go the other way with this. And instead of Scoundrels and entourages, let's just get fat vehicles involved. And let's use Qi'Ra's ability to get villain events. Let's use Delve. And so over the week after I got blanked 0-3, I reworked this deck into a vehicles version. And what I did, I kept Profiteering, I kept Qi'Ra, I kept Han, everything's great. I switched out the battlefield. I used Outer Rim Outpost just to give me more money and a card draw. And I switched out the support suite. So my new support suite is 1 copy of Escaped Craft, 1 Maz's Vault, 1 Merchant Freighter, 1 4-cost Falcon, 1 6-cost Falcon, 1 Pirate Speeder Tank, 1 Shadowcaster, and 1 Star Viper. 5 vehicles, not counting the Merchant Freighter, and 4 of them costing 4 or more. Upgrades. I had an Arc Caster, a custom paint job, Han Solo's blaster, because why not? 2 laser cannons, and 2 targeting astromechs. So obviously leaning all into vehicles. My events, I had 15 events again. I had 2 delves, 2 easy pickings, Electroshock, Entangle, Flee the Scene, Qi'Ra Blast to try to keep people alive. Opportune Strike, which again, I don't think I ever played, but it's from Covert Missions. If each of your opponents has an exhausted character and no dice showing damage, deal 2 indirect damage to them. Rendezvous, I put in Risky Move to give me a little more mitigation. I left Take Flight in. There were, again, 2 truce. And instead of Well Connected, I have We're Home. Activate 1 of your yellow vehicles and up to 2 of your scoundrels. You may remove 1 of your dice showing a resource to ready that vehicle. So I was pretty excited. I will go into this fully admitting that I didn't play test a lot, and just in the database trying to do card draw and your hand, like it can go really badly if you don't pull a vehicle or don't pull a truce or don't pull a delve. If you're pulling nothing but like mitigation and mods, it's not good. So if you're able to land something early, I think it has some teeth, but if you're not, it's going to fall apart. So last night, as I'm recording this, we got together and I'm ready to play. And sure enough, here's Vader Greedo again. I'm like, ugh, but that's okay. I got a different build. I mean, it can't be that bad, right? So we play and it's going okay. Han died round 2, and that's kind of expected, I guess. You know, he tried his best. Han died round 2, and we got into round 3, and I don't know if I ever killed Greedo, because I was really trying to focus on Vader, obviously. But I was able, I think I had a Star Viper down, and then thanks to a late delve, I got the fattest Falcon, the 6-cost Falcon, and the Escape Craft out, and it was awesome. And I rolled it in, and it gave me like 3 resources and a focus. I'm like, okay, that's not great. But Vader rolled in, and I think he had either he had Neiman or he had maybe his lightsaber on. I don't exactly know, but he had a 3 and a 4 for 1 and a +2. And I had to Fighting Pit again just to re-roll the 4 for 1, and it didn't matter because I think he rolled the 4 for 1 again. And basically he one-shotted Qi'Ra, who had like 8 health, and you know, with Vader's saber on him, it just dealt all the damage. And so round 3, I lost, and I didn't kill anyone, and it felt kind of bad. I mean, I was so geeked that, and I'm the kind of player that I just want to be able to play like the Fat Falcon, and I did it, and that felt good, but it rolled not great. And then Vader does Vader things. So at this point, Han Qi'Ra's 0-4. Let's do it again. We did the same matchup again, and this time I had a Pirate Speeder Tank out. I delved that out, I think, first or second round. I was feeling good about it. I was feeling so good about it, I put an Arc Caster, and that was awesome. And then Greg played his 1 copy of Desperate Measures, and that made me sad. So he put 5 damage into Greedo, but so what? I lost my big vehicle and couldn't do it. You know, Vader meanwhile had I don't want to say I got legendary, but that's a joke between me and Greg. You know, here he has 2 legendary Vader dice. He had a Neiman Mastery and he had Maul's Saber, and it's just like, take this, right? He rolled that in and just it slaughtered. I did kill Greedo, yay, I guess. But even when I killed him, he rolled in 2 damage, so that was annoying. So at this point, it was 0-5. I left this deck. I went and played some other things. And then the last match of the night, and I should say, I lost those 2 matches. I lost the next 3 matches playing different decks. And some of them were close. Some of them weren't, but some of them were close. And so the last, I'm a little bit demoralized. I'm a little bit on tilt. I'm a little bit frustrated because I've been looking forward to this all week, and I've just gotten my butt handed to me. But the last match, I said, hey, I'm gonna do Han Qi'Ra one more time. He said, that's fine. He plays this new deck, Covert Missions Boba Fett with Forlom, which is pretty good. It's very good, I should say. And, it won. It beat me pretty easily. I will say the one thing is that I had, as I alluded to, if this deck doesn't draw anything early, it's going to be hard. And I didn't draw a single vehicle until round 3. And it was just not a lot I could do. I tried to stay alive, but, Han had 3 bounties on him. And, sadly, I used Carablast to move damage back and forth. They were both pretty well wounded. I don't think I put that much of a hurt into either one of his characters. And it ended because Han died, and Han had on 3 bounties. And with the new Boba Fett, if you're not familiar, it says after an opponent's character is defeated, for each bounty on it, you may roll one of its character or upgrade dice into the pool. So I had 3 bounties. I had Han's blaster on him. That was my big round 1 play. I couldn't find a vehicle, but I had Han's blaster. And so he killed Han. He rolled all 3 Han's dice, his 2 Han's character dice, and the blaster. And it didn't roll anything, so that's good. But then he was able to pitch one of the cards he just pulled through Wanted or even just through Forlom recurring the bounties. And then he rolled into 7 damage and then just killed Qi'Ra. So if you're still listening, it's through tears of frustration that I just wanted to say that, yeah, Han and Qi'Ra didn't go so well. 0-3 night 1 as a scoundrel package, 0-3 night 2 as a vehicles package. And I love both characters. I still love Qi'Ra. I got to find a better partner for her. I'm really excited about Han at 12-point elite, but man, it sucked. It wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. So if you have any advice for me, hey, try this. I'm open. I'm all ears. I need, I tip my hat to Greg because Greg played really well. We had a good time. You go 0-6 on a night, and yeah, it's not great, right? I went to bed a little salty, and I don't like doing that. But I woke up, and, at the end of the day, I love this game. I love playing this game. I want to continue playing this game. I'm excited. It's 24 hours later, and I'm podcasting because I'm excited. Even though I got my teeth kicked in, I love Destiny. I love playing it. I love thinking of new things to try, even though I know it doesn't always work. I love playing with Greg. Greg always comes up with fun deck ideas, and he's a really good player. And I'm really bummed for the finality that maybe Worlds isn't happening. So I think Greg, who had a ticket to Worlds, would have done really, really well at Worlds. So, but seriously, Greg also beat my Maul deck the other night, so screw that guy. This is it. So I wanted to talk about that. I'm hoping, obviously, once I built the deck, I said, hey, I'm going to play this. I'm going to podcast about it. And then I went 0-3, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Maybe I won't podcast. But then I'm like, okay, I'll do vehicles, and we'll redeem it, and it'll be awesome. And then I went 0-6, and I'm like, well, screw this. I'm not going to podcast. But here I am, and I hope you enjoyed it, right? I hope you enjoyed listening to a very casual player, which again is what I am, and what I've become even more so in the age of coronavirus. And that's where it went, I don't know. I hope you're having some fun. If you're still playing some Destiny, we'll see. I wanted to go ahead and start wrapping up, and I get to crack a pack. It's been so long. It's been a couple of months. I haven't even posted the last pack to the website, so I'll get on that. But here we go. I have a pack. What happened was I saw that Barnes & Noble was liquidating their Destiny half off packs. So I took my daughter, who's a pretty voracious reader, and took her under the guise that I would buy some Destiny packs. I was really hoping for Across the Galaxy boxes, but all they have is Way of the Force. So I bought 4 packs of Way of the Force. So that's pretty good. So I'm actually going to crack a Way of the Force pack tonight. It's kind of a throwback, a flashback, if you will, to an earlier time. And I was looking back. If you go to jank@fuzzball.com and you click on Crack Packs, you can scroll down and see all the packs I've ever cracked as part of the show. And the very first 3 packs I cracked were Way of the Force, because that's when I started podcasting. It was right before Across the Galaxy came out. And it was interesting. So I wrote them down. Overall, I cracked those 3, and then I cracked one later because I ran out of Across the Galaxy packs. But here are the 4 Way of the Force cards, or at least dice cards I've pulled as part of Jank It Up Fuzzball. I pulled an Anakin, little baby Anakin. Maybe not baby Anakin, but little Anakin. I pulled a V1 thermal detonator. I pulled an N1 Starship, which is a mighty fine vehicle. And then I pulled a Lotho Minor Junkie, which is kind of useless. If I cared enough, I'd try to find a place for it. And maybe inside a Jawa deck, it might work, but that's it. But those are my 4 pulls from Way of the Force, and they're not overly impressive. So my friends, let's say some good voodoo here or something. Let's get something going. Surely there's something a little more interesting in this pack. It is from Way of the Force. It's got Old Man Luke on the package. Let's open it up and see what we get. Huh. Man, it's a yellow dice. Why wouldn't it be a yellow dice? What's more, it's a card that I just sold as part of a yellow lot of cards. It is Jabba the Hutt, Renowned Gangster, or as Mr. Chip would say, Tickle Me Jabba. It is it's a character, leader, scoundrel. Here we go. Maybe I need this particular character. He's 12 health, so he's a little more beefy, as you would expect a Hutt to be. His die reads 2 focus, 1 resource, special blank. The special, deal indirect damage to an opponent equal to the number of your dice showing a special, including this die. 12 for single die, 16 for elite. I like this Jabba actually quite a bit, and I've podcasted about a couple of different decks, or at least one deck. I built a Jabba Phasma starter kit Phasma deck. She has a special, and I liked it. I had some success with it against Greg. Just trying to put as many dice that have specials in it and go to town. So I really do like this Jabba the Hutt. And, maybe Greg needs it. Who knows? But I have plenty of these. And like I said, I just sold one off on eBay. But there you go. That is the rare Jabba the Hutt. The uncommon is Hostile Takeover. It is a 2-cost red event. It is a neutral. Play only if you control the battlefield. That already makes me sad because, I don't know. Got to worry about controlling the battlefield. Choose a symbol showing on one of your dice. Then resolve an opponent's die showing that symbol as if it were your die. Man, that just sounds expensive for 2, right? So you have to have the battlefield. Then obviously you have to have some dice in your pool, and there has to be some dice in your opponent's pool. And those symbols have to match. So play only if you control the battlefield. Choose a symbol showing on one of your dice, then resolve an opponent's dice showing the same symbol as if it was your die. Not a fan, but if you've got a way to play Hostile Takeover, let me know. Let's take a look at the comments. Here we go. We got a rainbow section here. The red is a red neutral event. Change of Fate. It's got C-3PO, looks to be bogged down in a marsh. Choose any number of dice. Force an opponent to turn each of those dice to sides of their choice. Interesting. Change of Fate. I've never played it, but maybe I will now. Fond Memories is a blue 1-cost hero event. It's got Yoda on the artwork. Choose up to 3 cards in a player's discard pile and place them on the bottom of their deck in the order of your choice. Set this card aside. So choose up to 3 cards in a player's discard pile and place them on the bottom of their deck in the order of your choice. Set this card aside. So you can play this to get cards out of your discard and put them on the bottom. And then if you have a means to kind of shuffle your deck, I guess you have a chance of seeing those cards again. So it's interesting. It'll also keep you from being milled, perhaps, but it costs 1. Lastly, something I am definitely not when it comes to Star Wars Destiny, we have Cocky. It is a yellow villain event. Spot a yellow character to have each player choose and discard 2 cards from their hand, starting with you. So it's got sand people in the art, so that's pretty cool. But spot a yellow character to have each player choose and discard 2 cards from their hand, starting with you. I guess if you play this as your last card, that's pretty good, because then you have nothing to discard. You can force the other people to it. I've never played it, but maybe I will. Let's review the pack. I'm actually excited to get Jabba the Hutt because I like getting characters in these. So I'm happy with that. We got Jabba the Hutt, Renowned Gangster. Tickle Me Jabba. Mr. Chip would be proud. Hostile Takeover. That is the uncommon. And then we got Change of Fate, a red neutral event. We got Fond Memories, a blue hero event. And we got Cocky, a yellow villain event. And that is from way back in the day, Way of the Force. So there you go. It is a brand new episode of Jank It Up Fuzzball. Maybe you're still listening to podcasts. Shout out to Qi'Ra Bell and Jedi Geek Girl. I'd been thinking about recording, and then she just released her kind of first part of her Destiny Goodbye series with her and Zach Bunn talking Destiny. And, you know, that really motivated me to do this. And Qi'Ra Bell was one of the podcasts that I listened to early on, and that it certainly helped inspire me to create some content. And I do miss all the Destiny podcasts. I know there's some YouTube channels and things like that, but I exist mostly. I consume way more podcasts than I do videos. So shout out to all the podcasters out there, whether they're still creating content or they did. It was great. And like I said, I'm still planning on creating some content. We'll see how it goes. As long as I'm having fun with it, I'll keep doing it. But, who knows? Every episode could be the last. That's kind of how I think we need to think about it. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you. Just thanks for listening. And if you're going to play some Destiny, even on TTS, remember, play some jank, roll some dice, have some fun. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully sooner than 2 months. But yes, we'll definitely, absolutely, positively, more than likely talk to you soon. Y'all be safe, you hear?